Hey guys, what's going on? It's the NRL Fantasy Fanatic coming at you with round number 4 from round number 3. Now, I must apologise. I know our usual episode comes out on the Tuesday, right after Team List Tuesday. However, I haven't been 100%. And so now I'm just making a quick vid before the kickoff on Thursday night at 8 PM. So I'm going to be short, sharp, and to the point with this video. Just speaking about my team, the trades that I'm looking to make, and potential movements and what happened last week. So last week, to give you context, we had Angus Crichton, we moved him on. There were quite a few comments from people who didn't really agree with that movement, but given that Crichton just didn't seem to be getting the same points he was getting, all the minutes, plus he went to the bench, I wasn't convinced that we would see the same Crichton from last year, and I think the reality is with him starting the bench means diminished minutes is going to be diminished points when you've got a player like Crichton who kind of relies on more field time in order to build up those points, as opposed to just being like a Payne Haas who absolutely, gets points through dominating players with tackle bust and line breaks, etc. So the Angus Crichton moves seem to be the right way to go. Tago happened to be the right call. The fact that he only got 53 with against the Knights when the Knights were a man down is pretty trivial. Like, you really expected him to pump it up. I think he got 2 tries, 2 try assists, etc., etc., and to only get 53 still is quite low. So I think it's a true illustration that base stats are down. But I wanted to get that cover of the second row center position. So that just gives me the cover if Jack Bird or Euan Aitken do get injured for 1 or 2 weeks. But this week, what I've done is I've had to come to my senses. I brought in Nanai. He had an outbreak last week of 62 points. The week before, he had something like 10 missed tackles, and it was a miserable score. But because he's getting those minutes and he looks like a force to be reckoned with when he's on, I still think he has another 100k to go up. I reckon 550 would be his minimum once he gets going. The fact that he's kept that starting spot in that side is very pleasing to see for most fantasy coaches out there that had him. So I've brought him in. The trades that I had to make in order to bring him in, I think it was pretty straightforward for me. Bullemor moved to the bench. Just didn't work out with Bullemor this year, which is, a little bit disappointing. They've instead opted to go with Andrew Davey in the starting side. I don't know if that's going to be the right call. Davey's, I think, a very huge workhorse. I don't know if he's like an absolute barnstorming second roller, but we'll see how that plays out for the Manly Seagulls. The other trades I'm considering is Amone to BRODIE Jones. We know that BRODIE Jones is starting the second row. He seems to score quite well when he does get more minutes in that second row spot. He came off the bench a lot last year. That's why his score was down to a price point of 325k. So he's a very viable option. We know Barnett's out for the 6 weeks with the suspension, so he's going to have time to bump up. I'm unsure if I want to make that now or a little bit later. I've still got the following players in my squad that I can move out. It's most likely going to be Amone. I think Amone's been found out a little bit in the halves position, which is super unfortunate. He's just a little bit lackluster in defense, gives away quite a few missed tackles, especially when he had to man up against Kickow. Whereas when Gagai lined up against Kickow and the center spot was covering that second row position, even with the 12 men down, Gagai just manhandled him so much that they kept decoying Kickow in order to give Tago and May the ball outside. So the other option that most people are talking about is going with May. I don't need another wing fullback. I'm not that desperate. I know he scored a hat-trick and people love to jump up and say, oh, look, he's going to be doing this all day, every day. I don't think so. The reality is that Newcastle side was a man down for the proper of 45 to 50 minutes, so the majority of the game, and they just got exploited a lot. In saying that, I think May will go up. I just can't see him in a world in my team to bring him in and to risk moving too many players around. A little bit disappointed in the hammer, only 23. Overall, the team did score quite well. from last week. It's just that guys like Nicho Hynes, whom are owned by a majority, and Stephen Crichton and Tago, those guys have absolutely killed it. I think you'll find that combinations in a lot of teams where people opt to go the cheaper centers, just to fill in those spots with Crichton and Tago, and they've absolutely handled that to the nth degree. I'm not going to be following the trend with bringing in Nicho Hynes. It could be my downfall in fantasy. Not having the highest point scoring player in any squad across the season is going to absolutely kill you when the majority of people do. But I just think, last week, great score. Dragons in defense looked absolutely woeful. I do have Mann and Schneider, who seem to be doing a great job there anyway in the halves. And fullbacks, I've got Pap, Hammer, and Tedesco. There's no real room to bring him on the bench. I'd have to sacrifice so much in order to get Hynes in, and I just don't think the risk versus reward is really there for me. And it's only going to take a couple of average scores for people to get off Hynes very quickly. I'd rather go with guys who I know have consistently scored well, that are going to go up in value indefinitely, like your Tom Starling. Absolutely killed it last week. So really happy with that. I just can't see myself pulling trades in order just to get that one player in. He's about 700, 740, I believe. Was his current price. Will most likely go up in the foreseeable future. In the short term, will that be long term? We're not sure. But I will die on my sword if that's what it means. But that's pretty much the trades I'm looking at this week. Was bringing in Nanai for Bullemor, and I'm possibly considering Amone just before kickoff tonight. We'll see how that plays out. For BRODIE Jones seems to be the way. Logical fallacy thinking is the way to go. But thank you so much, guys. We'll be back with a longer video next week, hopefully on the Tuesday, with a bigger, deeper dive on the analysis of players and teams and what other people are doing and what's successful, what's working, and what isn't working. But yeah, just been a bit of an off week for me, but I'll talk to you soon. Have a good one and good luck. Whoosh.